Hello. I would like to begin this little reflection with a story. It was the days before radar and before modern navigational equipment, and a warship was patrolling the high seas. It was a dark, foggy night, and the captain in his control tower was anxiously scanning the horizon, looking for any dangers that may be in the vicinity. With straining eyes, he scanned the hazy darkness, searching for any light that he may see. Then his worst fears were realized. He saw in the distance a light which seemed to be moving towards him in a direct collision course. Suddenly, he got on his radio and shouted over the radio, "This is Captain Smith. I order you to change your course 10 degrees south." But to his amazement, the light did not budge. It seemed to keep coming straight towards him. And then the voice in reply over the radio came and said, "This is Private Robert Johnson, and I order you to change your course 10 degrees north." The captain was furious that he was disobeyed, and he got on his radio again, and he says, "I am ordering you to change your course 10 degrees south." And to his amazement, Private Johnson came back over the radio again and said, "With all due respect, Captain, I order you to change your course 10 degrees north." At this, the captain was appalled. How could a sailor disobey him and put his men and crew in danger? So he got on the radio again and he said, "Private Johnson, I can have you court-martialed for this. So for one last time, I order you on the authority of the government of the United States to change your course 10 degrees south. I am an American warship." To his amazement, Private Johnson's voice came back over the radio. "With all due respect, sir," he said, "I order you to change your course 10 degrees north. I am a lighthouse." So if we leave that little story for a moment, we will come back to it again. The first reading and the gospel of every Mass on Sunday are supposed to have a theme that are related to each other. Sometimes it succeeds, other times it doesn't, but in today's reading they fit perfectly together. In the first reading, we are told of an Assyrian king who took into exile and captivity and slavery large numbers of Galileans who lived in that area. And when they were in exile, the prophet Isaiah wrote to them a message of hope. He said, "The people who sat in darkness have seen a great light, and those who sat in the region and shadow of death, a light has dawned." Many centuries later, Jesus would go into Galilee to begin his public ministry. He would go to that very same place from which the Galileans were taken into exile. He too would be the light. He would be a new light for his people. He would be a light in their darkness. And as St. John says, he would be a light that could not be overcome. And God was now fulfilling the prophecy made by Isaiah. But what about the rest of mankind? How would this light from Galilee spread all over the world? How does it reach into our lives? How does it reach into the places where we live? From the beginning, Jesus chose disciples, and they were to be light bearers for him, so that they would be the people who took his light to the corners of the earth. And each one of us who has been baptized and become a follower of Christ, we too are light bearers. He has said so himself. He says to us, "You are the light of the world." That's the highest authority. Jesus saying to us, you are the light of the world. That's astounding, isn't it? We may, because of our weakness and imperfections, think, how could we be the light of the world? But we may be encouraged if we look again at the lighthouse. Look at the story that I've told before. A lighthouse shines its light far out to sea. It is able to do this partly because of the intensity of the bulb. But that's not all. Surrounding the bulb are dozens of glass pyramids or glass prisms which reflect the glow of the bulb and so greatly increase its strength and augment its illuminative power. Take away the prisms and the lighthouse might be visible for a mile. But when you surround the bulb with these pieces of carefully shaped glass, and the lighthouse can be seen for 15 miles or more out at sea. We who follow Jesus are like the prisms of a lighthouse. We don't generate our own light, but rather we reflect the brilliance of Christ in the world. We reflect the brilliance of the Spirit within and the image of God in whom we are created. So the gospel asks us today, what is my response? Jesus called the fishermen. We know their response. When he calls me to leave my nets, whatever they may be, what is my response to be the light of the world? Thanks for listening.